All right, hello and welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversation. So excited for today's episode. We have Caitlin Parsons, a life coach and yoga therapist out in San Diego, California, which is a city that I spent 8 years of my life in. And I know the vibes that she is not only putting out, but receiving there from that wonderful city. So I'm so excited for you guys to meet her today and hear about what she's got going on in life, her journey, and all the things that she's become aware of that are helping people in her practice of yoga and everything that she's doing in her life. So without further ado, I'm so excited for you guys to meet Caitlin. All right, so Caitlin, if you could do me a favor so that you're not a complete stranger to the audience, I would love for them to know who you are, what you do, and why you do it, and all that good stuff.
Yes, I would love to. All right, so I am a certified yoga therapist. I actually live in San Diego, and I'm a life coach as well. And a big part of what I do is help people to move away from pain, whether it's physical pain from injury, from accidents, from normal wear and tear of life. I use a lot of yoga therapy to do that, or if it's discomfort of being stressed or being overwhelmed or having anxiety and not knowing and having the tools to get through it and to really live a full, vibrant, and intentional life. So a big part of my why is to help people. Like I've had a lot of resources in my life. I actually was in a car accident when I was 16 and hit a tree and flipped my car after hitting black ice. And that kind of catapulted a lot of my back pain.
Wow.
And I didn't really start to experience back pain until I became a dental hygienist, which I also still practice. And I just started to be in a lot of pain, and yoga started to help. And so I kind of just started to do yoga and explore that, and started to get super curious about, okay, I'm starting to feel better physically. So there has to be more that I can do, or different types of yoga therapy. Because I started with hot yoga, which is a little more broad, I would say. So I started to get curious about more like therapeutic types of yoga. And at the time, there really wasn't much. So that actually prompted my move out to San Diego from Boston. And just it started from there. I started getting a lot of help from yoga therapy for my pain in my body, and started to learn more. I started my yoga therapy program, which yoga therapy compared to yoga therapy is 1,000 hours, and a yoga teacher is 200 hours. So once I started to feel better and understand really what we can do with yoga therapy, I started to work a lot more with clients. And just like my personal journey, physical pain, there's so much that has to do with our physical body, of course, and what's going on in our mental state and kind of energetic. So it kind of led me to moving from my physical pain, once that healed, to realizing all the anxiety and all this other stuff that was going on. So that's kind of my journey into how I also became a life coach. I support people through I incorporate a lot of the yoga therapy, so breathing exercises, guided meditations, all that stuff. I weave that into my coaching sessions. So it's a little bit of both.
So cool.
I just love helping people discover that they get to feel this way without drugs, without anything else necessarily, without surgeries. Like we get to feel it just by moving, just by understanding our body better, just by tuning in and listening, and obviously so much more. So
Absolutely.
a little bit.
I love that. And I'm so happy that you, because there's so many people out there, and I know I was one of them at one point, where when we think of yoga, we think of just, the stretching and, and that's kind of our vision of it. And, first time someone invited me to yoga, I remember I said, I'm not flexible at all. I don't know if that would be fun for me. And what I didn't realize is even going there for the first time in the first few sessions, and you mentioned hot yoga, which I love because I love to sweat. It's like that. I had so much fun doing that. I advised drinking tons of water before, though, because I didn't, and I started to cramp a little bit. So, yeah. But what I realized is yoga is so much more, and that's what you were just highlighting, and you just shared it in a way where I haven't even heard it before. And I want to ask you a couple of questions about that. But I love how much more it is, as far as it could be meditative practice, it could be a healing practice, it could be so much more than just the stretches that you're doing as a part of the practice. So I love that, and it's so interesting that. So, did you really start your yoga journey were you already practicing yoga prior to the car accident, or did someone introduce you to you as a way to help with healing through that? That's so interesting how that kind of sparked some of this in your journey.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So my car accident was when I was 16, and I definitely needed yoga but wasn't going. So I probably started yoga when I was about 19 or 20, and it was right after I became a dental hygienist. So just from like all the sitting, poor posture, and my car accident, I had a lot more pain for a 20-year-old that just started her job. Because a lot of dental hygienists in the dental field, or anyone really that sits, pain in the body and like back pain, that's a very unfortunately a normal thing. And I wasn't willing to accept that at 20 years old, that my life would just be pain. So that's kind of how I started yoga and where I was introduced. It was a Bikram class that I first went to. And yeah, just like you said, there was so much. I thought it was all about the physical and I was super into it. But every time I left, I'm like, there's way more to this than that. I mean, and Bikram is like a set amount of poses. It's always the same. So I started to get like more curious, like there has to be more than just these set poses, and more than, because they don't cue the breath quite as much. So I just started to get more curious, started to take more classes at different studios, and discovered, yeah, there's, like you said, way more. A big part of it was the stress relief for me, and really I was pretty disconnected from clearly my body, but also really living in my mind for the most part. So yoga started to get me out of just being in my head all the time. And that was like the trigger or the light bulb for me to continue.
Love it. Love it. I always notice how whenever we become aware of something new in our lives, whether it be new information or a new practice, and using your example here with yoga, how initially the information is, it opens our eyes, it makes us aware, but then when we start applying it in our lives and start seeing results, then it really becomes truth to us. And I'm curious then how some people like yourself make the additional step of, okay, I see this as truth in my life now. I see the results that are happening. I'm feeling better. Now I want to actually share this with other people. I want them to actually see some of these benefits, which I only had to be on your Instagram page for a few seconds, and I saw that you have a heart to give. You want to help people. Your Instagram stories are great. You're driving in the car and you're sharing cool stuff, just little tips that you feel will impact other human beings, and that's what really attracted me to want to talk to you, because I love talking with other human beings that want to impact humanity, and that's what this podcast is all about. So, how did you make that shift to where it's like I want to share this with people now and see them benefit in their lives?
Yeah. Right when I started yoga and the light bulb went off of, whoa, there's so much more than just these set of poses and this hot yoga practice. Although it really benefited me, especially in dental, you're hunched over, you're using like really small muscles, and it's just a lot of intense movement. So once I started to, like, the light bulb went off of like, ooh, I want to learn more about how this can help me. And then, I mean, as a dental if anyone who usually is in the dental field or medical field, you usually are there because you like to help people. You like working with people. So that's always been my thing. That's kind of why I was drawn to dental hygiene. That's what I knew at the time, a good way to support people, a good career. And so that's just naturally how I am. Right when I was like, ooh, I want to try this for me, it was like, ooh, but then I could share this with other people.
Nice.
And it took a little bit for me to actually feel comfortable sharing. I got my first yoga certification in 2011. Started teaching, I think, when I moved to San Diego, I started teaching in sometime in 2012, and it was a slow progression because I was doing like power flow, like totally not what my dharma is, or what my true passion and path is. And it was really great. But then when I started to realize what people really need, we need stress relief, we need to learn how to get into our bodies and out of our minds. We need, once I started to hear people's pain points, it was like, okay, I have a lot to share, and let's do it.
Love it. Love it. that sparks another question for me because you mentioned getting out of our bodies and into our minds and on the topic of like mindfulness. And was there was there a mentor or a book, or was there a certain point in your life where all of a sudden you started really realizing that we're more than just what we see here in our physical, like there's more going on energetically, and you started exploring that. Was there something that kind of sparked that? And just the vibe that I get from your page, I know that you're very aware of energy and how it shows up in our life. What's going on the inside of us is definitely reflecting out into the world. Explain that a little bit about me, because I know that you have that vibe going on, and I'm always curious when I notice that with other people.
Yeah, totally. I can't say it was like a specific moment that I'm like recollecting on, but it was kind of the journey in general. I came from a family of hustle and go, and the more you work, the more you get, like that kind of mentality. So for me to be where I am and doing what I'm doing is like a 180 from where I'm from. So even in my first 200-hour training of yoga, I started to understand that there was more than just our physical bodies. But it probably wasn't until I was like halfway through my 1,000-hour that I was like, oh my God, there's way more. And once I started to like get more clear on my mindset and how my mind affects what is in front of me and all of that, I started to really understand more of the spiritual side too. So I think it was just some amazing teachers that I've had, and amazing meditation experiences that I've had. And they didn't come the first, second, or third time. It does take practice. It takes a sense of being open. And I think for a really long time, I wasn't open to it. And once I started to open up a little bit and invite that sort of interest in, that it hit home, I guess.
Question that I have, Caitlin, because I'm you're inspiring me, and I definitely I want to always know from people, out of everything that you've become aware of, in your life up till now, which I asked myself a question that kind of started my journey when it comes to wanting to share with people, how powerful we are and that we can be, do, and have anything. And I asked myself a question as far as, if today were my last, knowing that tomorrow is not promised for any of us, have I shared with the humanity some of the things that I've become aware of, and as many of those things as possible, to where if I wasn't here anymore, it could impact another human being long after I'm gone. And that kind of sparked something in me to where I was just, anytime, like you do on your Instagram stories, I was just sharing and I was recording and I was just wanting to create more things, so that basically I'm emptying out my, what's inside of me, and just everything that I become aware of, I could share at that point. So what's some of those things for you that you would love to just pass to anyone that is ready to hear? Because that is an important part of it also. The people that are ready to hear what we have to share are the people that are really going to receive it, but people will still receive whatever they're ready for in that moment. So what's some of those things for you?
Oh my gosh, I love that you asked that, and I love that you do that for yourself daily, because we all have really so much to share with people. And like
Absolutely.
you said, when people are ready to hear it, they'll receive it. So what's been coming up for me really lately is the importance of slowing down, and especially in our society, a lot of us, including myself, are trained to go, 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 go. And when we're in that constant go, 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 we're not giving ourselves space and time to find clarity and to really connect to ourselves. And so for a lot of us, because we're on the go, we're getting caught up in social media, we're getting caught up in other people's thoughts and opinions, we're getting caught up in the news and everything that's surrounding us. And while there's so much value in a lot of that, it prevents us from really connecting to who we are and what we want on our path. So a lot of people I feel like, getting really confused about what's next for them, or what they want, or their gifts to share. And it can be really hard when you see all the bright, shiny things outside of you. But I truly believe we're all here for a reason, to share a message, whatever that is. And I'm sure that continues to evolve for each of us. But the more we connect to ourselves, get rid of all the other stuff, we find more clarity, and giving ourselves more space rather than filling the space with even music, but the news, the TV, filling it with all these events. Like, what if you could find more space in your life to just be you and just connect to you and let you shine forward? Because it's only when we're clear that we get the messages of whatever we're supposed to be doing. And it's the subtle messages that we oftentimes skip over because there's noise around us.
Yes.
So that's one thing that keeps showing up for me. Another is the power of our minds. Literally, I mean, we hear it all the time, but truly, what you're thinking, how you talk to yourself, how you talk to others, literally the words that you speak and how mindful you are in them reflects your reality. So if you're not happy with who's around you, if you're not happy with where you're at in your life, maybe you have anxiety or stress, or you're in overwhelm, like, think about the quality of your thoughts and your intentions for your day, and how you're showing up in your life. And is that representative of what you really want? That's kind of the biggest
Really
thing. I was practicing a lot of what I preach until I realized, like, no, I'm still stuck in anxiety, and I still don't, completely trust what's happening. And so I've done a lot of inner work to reconfigure my mindset, and a lot of old patterns that I was taught when I was young. I was taught from my parents. I inherited whatever that looks like. And I'm just learning to let that all go, and to let whatever is supposed to come in. But a big part of it is our mindset. And we literally, I believe, we create our reality. So
Yes.
noticing our thoughts and how that is a reflection of what's around us.
Love it. Love it. Okay, you just inspired me. I have to piggyback on what Caitlin just said. And, when she said, and I may not say this exactly the way that you said it, but just being more of who we are, or how did you word that? You said being who we really are, along those lines, when you said when we're being who we really are. For me, that means that's always in the moment. And for me, that always means the energy that we have, our state of being. And if we're in that energy of love or joy, of happiness, of passion, of all of those energies that feel really, really good, in those moments, we're connected with who we really are. Whether you want to call that energy love, whether you want to call that energy God, whether you want to call that energy the universe, it could be whatever you want to call it. It's all a state of being. And once you're there, we know that we're there, and the thoughts that we receive when we're in that energy are going to be a match to whatever that energy is. So if we're in a state of being of love, the only thoughts that we can receive in that moment are loving thoughts. And then our words are going to be, as a result, loving, and our actions are going to be loving. And, you're in the state of being of love. You're being love. So you're connected with who you really are. And I've always noticed that we can't receive a loving thought from a powerless or depressed place. And we're human, so it's not about being perfect. We're all going to spend time all throughout the realm of our emotions. The key is to be aware. And then if we're aware, it gives us the power of choice. And, none of us are ever going to receive a frustrated, miserable, depressed, angry thought either if we're really in that state of being of love. So, and love and all these are just words, but it's an energy. We all can know when we're being loving. And, when Caitlin said that, that's what I take from that as far as being who I really am. It's like, what's my state of being right now in the moment? Doesn't matter what I was yesterday. Doesn't matter what I'm going to be tomorrow. All it is right here, right now. And that's going to determine my thoughts, my words, my actions, and really the results, what we see in our life. So thank you for inspiring that out of me, because I love when we can just, not be hard on ourselves, not beat ourselves up, because we're all human. And we're going to experience, everything. But the key is just to be aware of it. And if we can set the intention of, I would like to feel this way, I would like my state of being to be here, so that my life can look the way I would love it to look, then we'll always be moving towards that. And I agree, we do create our own reality with the thoughts that we think, and we become magnetic to our state of being. So I always tell people, start paying attention to those around us. And if you find yourself like, everybody around me today has been angry, might want to look in the mirror and see, might have been a kind of an angry day for you too. It just kind of is what it is. And the opposite will also be true. We're magnetic to our state of being. And that goes into a whole nother conversation. But I appreciate you saying that a lot. Anything that you want to add or add to that or share?
Oh yeah. First, you hit the nail on, what is it? The nail on the coffin. I don't know what they say. Whatever
Nail
those
on the
kids
head.
say. The Yeah, that one. The power of being present. So this is something that I think a lot of us struggle with, is actually being present. What are you being present to right now? And so many of us, I mean, if you like, I encourage you all today to go, when you have a conversation with someone, notice your thoughts, notice how present you are, because so often we're in a conversation with someone and we drift off to, oh, they said this, they're having this for dinner. And then you go off into what you're having for dinner, or like we tend to not stay present. So those moments that we drift off, which, like you said, we're human, so we get to train our mind to come back to present. But that's the power of being present. And when we are present, we're feeling everything that's true and that's real right now. And as you shared, you get to choose what that is. And we get to choose if it's love, we get to choose what that is. But there's also going to be times where, we feel sadness, and it's okay to feel that.
Absolutely.
If we feel it fully, we get to move through it. But yeah, the power of being present gives us the ability to be here now, not dwelling on the past, not in anxiety about the future or stressing about what's next, but like truly, truly here. And that's when it all comes through, not when we're stressing about what's next or trying to force things to happen. It's when we're in the flow, we're in the moment. That's when the magic happens.
I love that. I love that so much. And tell me if you can relate to this, Caitlin. What I've noticed, and with being present, every conversation that we ever have with another human being, you're always going to bring whatever energy that you bring to that conversation. They're always going to bring whatever energy that they bring to the conversation, and together, you guys go to a place energetically that you've never been before. It's a very unique energy, and this goes for every conversation, every interaction we ever have as human beings. So when we can become super hyper focused and present in that interaction, what you'll notice is the energy with us energetically, there's no limit to where we can go energetically in the direction of love, joy, bliss, euphoria, and also the other direction as well, where we're not feeling so good. And in episode 1, I mentioned a chart, a green zone chart, that really just it helps us be aware of human emotion. But the point is, I always notice now that when I'm bringing, the energy that I'm bringing to an interaction with another human being, and they're bringing theirs, and I am super present, it allows the energy to keep going, a momentum to build, and there's no limit to this. So you can get in those conversations where time doesn't exist. It's just you're all of a sudden you're in that conversation or in that interaction with another human being, and it's so much fun because, like Caitlin said, you're not thinking about, well, what am I going to have for dinner later? Well, now your energy just split off. That momentum that you had going with that other human being, they're still bringing theirs, you're still bringing theirs, but you're kind of split all over the place now, and so because maybe you throw in, oh crap, I didn't cook, or I didn't put the things out, I didn't go to the grocery store, so now your energy was like vibing and having fun, and then you just went to worried, so you're all over the place, so you're not going to really have the full potential of what you could have, in that conversation that will never exist again, for the rest of humanity. You have other conversations, of course, but that one right there, it's really fun when you can start just enjoying, each moment for what it is. I would say it might not be, any moment in our lives, whether we're by ourselves or with other people, it doesn't have to be the best moment that you've ever had as your history of a human. However, we still get to choose how present we want to be, how much joy we want to bring to this moment, whether we're sitting by ourselves in our room just enjoying, relaxing, or if we're with a huge group of people. It doesn't matter. We still have that choice. So I love that. That's been a major focus for me as well.
Yeah, that makes me actually think about just the power of our intention. I've so many times gone into tough conversations, whether it's like work review or a tough conversation with your partner or something like that. And when I go in without any intention and like, oh, this is going to be weird, this is going to be bad, this is going to be uncomfortable, the conversation and the energy around the conversation is so much different, rather than going in with, okay, I'm choosing to, no matter what happens, to be open, be ready to receive, and to love no matter what, love myself, love them. And when you choose you create an intention, you choose to go into that, you also, no matter what space the other people are in, you get to stick with that. And although it's hard, and although we get dragged down sometimes and all that, there's still this power of our energy. And I've gone into conversations that go really, really well with that. And I've also gone into it where the other person is having their own experience. And we get to, when we go in consciously into conversations like that, or we create an intention, I feel like our vibe is so different. So yeah, maybe they're going to get upset, but I actually am choosing love still. So I'm
Really
going to
good.
stay in that vibe. And I feel like the more I do that, the more I invite them to actually do the same. They kind of lower, like, oh, this doesn't have to be this angry conversation or whatever that looks like. But yeah, the power of our intention.
So good. I always tell people that when we bring that type of energy that you were just describing to an interaction with another human being, they really only have two choices. You're either going to pull them up to where you are, or they might not want to stick around too much because we've had those instances where people will really thank us for, I'm so happy you came today. Like I needed your energy. Like you uplifted me. Like you picked me up. Like we've had those experiences. And then we've also probably had experiences where someone comes in and you're like, what are you so happy about today? Like they're not ready to join you in that energy. So they don't want to be around you. Maybe it's causing more light to come on them as far as, they're realizing that they're not in the best place, so they don't want to be around that. We've all been there. It's, if you're not feeling your best, like you probably don't want to go to a room where everybody is like singing hymns and like super happy and joyful. Like that's not probably that you're going to be your option as far as where you want to be. So I get it, but
Totally.
I love how you said that.
I was just going to add to that. I think it's so important to not attach to, we all get to have our experience, and to choose to, try and up level people and bring them to our level, but not get attached when, they're in that low vibe, and that's their decision, that's their choice. So not attaching to, oh, they're in this place and I want them to be this way, but like, okay, I did my best and I chose to show up, and they're choosing to go through something that maybe they just need to, or maybe they're just choosing to be in low energy, but not attaching to an outcome.
Okay, so this is going to be really, really funny. Before we were getting ready to record this, and I got a text message from a friend of mine, and they've been becoming really, really aware of their energy first and foremost, and they've started to notice just what we were talking about, the energies of those around. And I didn't send the voice message yet, but I'm going to after this because I had something really impactful to share with them. So I'm going to send them a voice message because their message was, I'm noticing how negative a lot of the people are around me. And I want to caution, if we start noticing and really seeing other people and we're judging them as negative, not like we're harshly judging like this is a bad person, not that serious, but even when we start to notice, the energies of those around us, and we allow ourselves to even start to judge, like this person's being this way, like pointing the finger almost, our energy can't help but start to move towards that energy. Like we're not pulling them up anymore. In that moment, when we're pointing that out, our energy is only sliding towards them. And if we continue to do it, if we let momentum pick up where we're like, I wish this person would just, look at the bright side, and they're always complaining and they're always come here. And I know this person listens to the podcast, so they didn't say all this. So I'm not going this far, but I'm using an example. Because one thought of a critical nature could lead to a second, could lead to a third. So if we could be aware of that, I'll tell myself, if I think even a single, and this, I didn't always do this, but just becoming more aware of my thoughts and my energy. If I think a critical thought of another human being or another situation, I'll tell myself, stop it, Noel. Like immediately, I got just one thought. I don't want a second or a third. There's an energy that I like to live my life in. And so that's just something that I always caution. Once we start, it's really cool to start seeing the energies around us and start seeing us uplifting people. But people that they're typically always mirroring our energy. And if we're noticing it, if someone that is, maybe not in the energy that they would love to be in that moment, we could also ask ourselves, how are we being right now if I'm noticing it? And just, that's a great reminder for us to go back to, like you said, the intention that we have for ourselves, which is all we can really control anyway. So
Yes. Yep. And I feel like when we start judging other people and we point that finger, there's a part of us that is I don't know the quote, but when you point a finger at someone else, you're pointing the other fingers back. Like a part of ourselves is judging a part of us that has been in that place. So yeah, you are bringing yourself down to that low vibration. Like, what if you could just send them love? Like, oh, they're feeling it today. I'm going to send them love and positive vibes and move on with our day.
Yes, yes, yes. The important thing to know is we've all been there. I mean, there's not one of us that has just lived this life where it's just been all, rainbows and unicorns prancing around all day. I haven't met that person quite yet. So if you're listening to this podcast and that's
Nope.
you, I've congratulations. We'll have you on, share some of your secrets, I guess. But really,
Tell me more.
yeah, but really, in actuality, if it weren't for those moments that we're having where we're not feeling our best, the desires that we have today, the direction that we're going in our life, probably wouldn't exist. Because how would we even know that we wanted to go create these things? How would Caitlin know that she wanted to help people with her practice if she hadn't experienced some times where that practice was really needed for her to continue for herself to evolve? So all the experiences that we have in life really are benefiting us, because without them, we wouldn't be who we are today, and we wouldn't be on the track that we are without knowing these things. And I want to go create these things as a result. So I love that. Okay, so I love everything that you've shared, up until this point. I guess my question to you is, you're there in San Diego. Is there anything that you want to promote for, that you're doing locally, or for globally online? Share something, because one thing that I will say, just talking with Caitlin for this short amount of time, the awarenesses that she has and the energy that she's bringing and the passion that she has for what she's doing, and also the passion that she has to help people. All her information will definitely be in the description. Follow her on social media, because it's really cool. Actually, before we talked here, I looked at a couple of her stories, and it was just her driving in the car, just saying uplifting things that she was sharing. Really, really cool. I love being involved with people's lives that are, just wanting to impact humanity and uplift people. And so what I'm saying is, anybody that decides to, be a part of Caitlin's journey and be involved in the things that she's doing, you're not only going to get to feel that really, really good energy from her, but once we start applying that energy and applying some of the practices that she's doing into our lives, there's nothing off limits to any of us. We can all be, do, and have anything. And so once we become aware of that, it's really cool to spend time and to, if you're inspired to go on journeys with people like Caitlin, who, she's doing it for herself every single day. She's really aware. She's always evolving. And the people that she's working with, I know, are getting a chance to feel that energy and then take that energy and go on their own journey as well. So what is it that you'd like to, anything that you'd like to share or promote, or anything that you have going on you're excited about right now?
Yeah, I'm excited about everything I'm doing, actually. So 2019, I'm actually coming in super hot. I'm leaving my dental job, I believe, at the end of January, and going full force in my business. And it feels just so amazing and so aligned.
So cool.
So I do have a bunch of some online offerings we'll share after. But if you are in San Diego, I have a couple local classes. You can find that on any of my social media. You can go on my website. I teach in North County, San Diego, and I predominantly teach therapeutic yoga. So I teach a healthy back class for people that have back pain, injuries, or people that just want to educate themselves and have preventative care. And I have actually foundational workshop. It's a 6-week series for 2 hours a day, or 2 hours every Friday. That's foundations for yoga therapy. So every week we break down a different area of the body, working with like neck and shoulders, on proper alignment in the hips and low back, on knee pain. So we kind of go through the whole body and break it down and give you tangible tips to bring into your life. So that's something that I'm really excited about locally. I do regular workshops once a month with Yoga Nidra, which, if you've never done Yoga Nidra, oh my God, you have to. I have a couple on my YouTube channel, but it's a guided relaxation that guides the body into relaxation, and then literally brings the mind to relaxation and to almost sleep. So all that's left is awareness. And it is this extremely powerful practice. I use it a lot with my private clients too. But I do those regularly. So if you're in San Diego, reach out to me. I'd love to connect.
Love it.
And then my online resources. I've actually brought a lot of my yoga therapy private sessions online, depending on what you're working with and what you're going for. But I work a lot with people who have physical pain, whether it's injuries, and it's kind of yoga meets physical therapy. And my coaching, I do a 4-month coaching program. So it gives you an opportunity to really dive in and to actually bring these practices into your life and to activate yourself, your power, and to really get aligned and find clarity and to take aligned action. And that's a big part of what I do, is help people access and find and thrive in their personal freedom.
Love it. Wow. I love everything that you just said, and love that we have technology these days so that, 20, 30 years ago, it would have only been the people that are in San Diego that could benefit from this. And now it's global. I mean, everyone can, with what you're doing on YouTube and online. That is really, really cool. I love that what you just said, as far as being able to, get out. I will butcher this quote, but what I say, what you said is, you're only left with awareness. You have me there with the meditation,
right?
With the meditative practice. I love that. So yes, definitely take advantage of all of those resources from Caitlin. Caitlin, I will leave you with the last word. I just want to definitely say thank you for coming on to Enlightened Conversations and having this amazing chat with me. I know that people that are out there that hear this will definitely be uplifted by the content that you shared. And I'm so excited that you came on and shared some of your time with us and with the world. So I'm going to give the last word to you. Anything that you want to add? I mean, you pretty much summed it all up. I'm excited for people to take advantage of what you're doing there in San Diego and all over the world.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate this podcast and connecting with you. It's so nice to have just these present, awesome conversations about stuff like this. And thank you everyone for listening. If you want to learn more, if you want to ask me any questions about what we talked about today, go ahead and reach out. I'm happy to connect, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Love it. Love it. And you just reminded me to say that I haven't said this yet. If you guys have any questions that you want us to address here on Enlightened Conversations, message me through Instagram. Is a pretty easy way to get me. Any social media platform you can get me, and I'd love to either answer the question myself or address it to a future conversation with another Enlightened Conversation. But thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for another Enlightened Conversation here really, really shortly. This has been so much fun for me so far, and we're just getting started. We'll definitely continue to follow Caitlin's journey and see everything that she's creating for the world, because I know that for all of us, we're all just getting started. We're right now in the moment of now, and we're just going to all keep evolving, keep having fun, and keep allowing life to evolve where it goes. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you very, very soon for another Enlightened Conversations. Have an amazing day.